All right, so I grabbed a notebook so I can write down my answers. I probably won't have a notebook with me if uh, if this ever hits, basically. So the Series 6 basically involves if shit hits the fan in some type of scenario, like it asks questions more or less around that situation. And I first want to get in and mention that this was really hard for me because I don't really, in my mind, put myself out there thinking that if shit hits the fan, what would I do? I kind of don't think about those situations when I probably should. So this was really hard for me. And moving to question 1, I'll tell you the question and answer it and tell you a little bit more information as to why this was a little hard for me. So it says, what SHTF scenario do you fear the most? And it gave a couple different ones, which I will link below for you guys to take a look and to see. My first response was all. I mean, every single scenario that you could possibly come up with is a fear of mine. I have an issue with paranoia, and the paranoia comes in multiple different ways, and this is kind of one of them, which is why I don't really think about it. I don't know if it's from like growing up or trauma or what it is, but for some odd reason, in these types of scenarios, I'm definitely not prepared. I don't think about it. So in all of these situations, I would fear every single one of them, of the ones listed below. But the one that I primarily chose was biochemical. And the reason why I chose that one is for a multitude of different reasons. The first, to me, that one would be more of like a silent one that can really wreak havoc. I mean, in all the situations, they have their own little things that could really affect you or impact you. With the biochemical one, what fears me the most is not only is it like silent and deadly, but depending on what it is or what it affects, it could be slow, it could be painful, it can be little impact, it could be big impact, it could be countries impact. I mean, there's like no stopping it. And there's so many like what ifs. So is it impacting our water supply? Is it impacting our food supply? Is it impacting animals? Is it impacting plants? Like airborne? Like what is it? When I was thinking about these multiple situations and scenarios, I actually had to research a few because since I don't think about it as much as what I probably should, or take it as serious as what I probably should, I had no idea about all the different types of scenarios that could basically happen. I mean, just walking outside my door, I could probably face that whole entire list and not even know it. So it's definitely, you know, like an eye-opener to really sit back and think about these scenarios that are out there. So biochemical to me is the one that I would fear the most. I know it's not at all anything to joke about, but you constantly see in the news about like lettuce outbreaks or this type of water supply. I mean, I had friends who recently gone to a concert and the whole entire town had to be practically shut down because their water sources were contaminated. And now thinking back on that, after I've done some research on these recently, it's like, were they really an issue of contamination, or is that like the slow process of a biochemical warfare? You just don't know. It's that silent. So that's one of the ones that fear me the most, but in reality, all of them would fear me. The second question is, in a shit hit the fan situation, if the dollar loses all value, what do you have readily available as currency? So I don't have anything readily available that I can think of, but I've watched a lot of movies, which probably don't help. But I would have to say trade goods. So most of the time in a situation, depending on the people who survive like the major outbreak, so if there's like a major biochemical and just so happens I end up surviving and other people end up surviving, I feel that trade goods would kind of go a long ways. Every time I bake, I collect chocolate chips, and I jokingly used to tell my mom, I said, in a zombie apocalypse type of situation, I'm going to trade chocolate for goods. And it's, in my mind, I would think that, you know, chocolate, let's say a month or 2 months passed, and, you know, I'm going by someone and they have something I need. I don't know that person, so for all that I know, maybe that person is really craving chocolate. And this is just an example. I mean, I'm joking in a matter, but not joking in a matter, but depending on the situation, like if that person is really craving chocolate, they might trade something of value to me for a taste of chocolate. And that's what I would think of currency. So for currency, it would be trade goods. So name brand items, I would try to collect as much as I can around my apartment of what I think would be worth value in a few weeks from now. When people who have survived, who are really craving something or really want something, might end up trading for. So the only thing that I can think of is trade goods for that one. Your mindset is to dig in or bug out, and why? I would bug out. Where I currently live, it is too huge of a population. I mean, you can do tons of researches, but in Pennsylvania, it's usually always the one in red of like, if something did happen, it's like the worst state to be in. I mean, I'm surrounded by a ton of people, so I would bug out just to try to get away from people. I mean, if it's airborne, I'm gonna have to dig in, but in most situations, I would just grab all of the means that I can. Those trade good values, I mean, jewelry, anything that I could think of that might be worth it. I'd grab all of my hiking gear, I'd throw it in my backpack, and I'd like hit the woods. I mean, I have water filters, so I can filter out water if I need to. So I would think that in like the biochemical aspect of it, that it would affect more of our consumer goods rather than anything else for like the maximum amount of impact it can have. Just what I think. So I would get out. What environment would I prefer to be in, and why? And it was like urban or forest. For me, it's the wilderness. Forest, woods, wilderness. I rather be able to try to survive and take my chances out in the woods, either alone or, you know, with my companion, or other than that, kind of hide basically. And the best way that I'm going to be able to do that is going to be out in the woods. If I'm in my home, depending on how long it lasts for, there might be people who start, rummaging. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's one of those things, but there might be people who kind of break into people's homes and get as much as what they can and stuff like that. So, I mean, if I'm out in the woods, go have it. Chances of running into other people are definitely going to be there, but I'm pretty sure if I'm in the woods and someone else in the woods, there's more than enough woods area to share. If I'm in a house and multiple people come to my home, it could get pretty hectic and chaotic and so forth. So I would definitely choose wilderness. What are your 3 strongest skills that you bring to the table in the situation? So this one was really hard because I don't really have that many skill sets yet as far as, you know, if something was to happen, what to do. I'm still in the beginner mode. So the first one that I chose was a creative mind. So I have a mind that's constantly working where I can see something and be like, oh, if I do this with this, I could create this. So like a piece of rope, I'm thinking an ordinary, normal, everyday person is going to be like, that's a piece of rope. But my skill set being a creative mind, that piece of rope can be multiple things. That could be a tie, that could be something to pull, like I can use it to pull something. I mean, there's all sorts of things. So a creative mind is definitely something, think outside of the box is basically what you need to do. And I definitely have that. So I would think that's a good skill set to have if a type of situation did happen. The second is outdoor skills. So since I want to be in the wilderness, and depending on what the scenario is, having an outdoor type of skill is definitely something that I think is critical in this part. And the reasoning for that is because if you don't have any type of outdoor skill and it is biochemical, and let's say it's food and water related, again thinking that it's more consumer foods and consumer water, you would want to have some type of skill set to go out and either plant your own food or get your own water source and have it in a way that you can drink it. So having hiking and camping and outdoor skills is definitely one of my strong points of being able to have a better chance of surviving, I guess. So that's definitely something that's up there as a strong point. And the third one is teach oneself. I know it sounds silly as a skill, but I really think it is. Teach oneself basically goes a long way of I can teach myself really anything. So if I read a book or watch something or see something done once, I could kind of repeat it and do it myself. So if a situation did happen, if I was able to get my hands on like a manual for some type of vehicle or a book on how to do something or instructions, I'd be able to teach myself basically how to do it or how to operate or what to do. So that's definitely a really good skill set to have, is to be able to, apply that and be able to teach myself how to do something in case I need to. And the last question is tag 3 fellow YouTubers that have under 1,000 subscribers. So the first person I'm going to tag is Dragon Roams. His link will be down below, so you can check him out. The second person is going to be In the Woods with Bigfoot. I really like his channel, and he does a lot of video responses, and I really think this one's up his alley if he hasn't already done it. So I'm gonna link his link below too. And then the third one is going to be Skeledone Bushcraft and Survival. Recently I was on a bushcraft forum. I'm going to link that below if you guys are interested in joining in it. And I would think that his input on this video response would definitely add to the involvement of the channels. So definitely check out those channels. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button that's down there, or maybe up there, down there. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to see other future contents. If you want to tag me in a video, go ahead. I'm more for video responses, and let me know, and I'll be happy to share more input, answer questions, and put up what you guys want. All right, thank you for watching. Bye.